Rams fans, welcome in. Special edition bye week of Rams Showcase. Tonight, where are we at? Plus, where are we going? And later, it's break time for the bye week, but Van Queso's putting in overtime. Let's rock.
We here, man. We gotta take advantage of victory on one. Let's go.
This is Rams Showcase. And now your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome to it, Rams Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Bags at Rams Showcase at Sheriff Joe Bags. That's where you follow along on socials as well as ramshowcase.com. We're hitting into the bye week right now, but Rams Showcase not taking a break. Tuna and Sheriff not taking a break. Keeping that Rams conversation straight in your live still, so you're welcome for it. Tuna and the Sheriff, that's live 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. LA time. So make sure to check us out there on the Rams Showcase Facebook page. You can also stream live on the First and Tuna Podcast YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out there. And also give a sub to my dude Tuna, all right? It's a good spot to be out for some Rams content. Obviously, you get some Sheriff Joe Bags in your life as well, but all 22 breakdowns, good stuff over there on the First and Tuna Podcast YouTube channel. So, obviously, bye week, Rams sitting at 5-2. We're feeling at least decently good about it. 5-0 against AFC teams. We don't have another one until the Super Bowl, so, we're going to have to wait a little while till we face another AFC team, but I think we'll be okay to do so. But really what we're looking at here today is kind of just a snapshot of where we're at, all right? Just kind of zoom out a little bit and just kind of take a peek at what's been going on, because I know, especially for the Rams fan base, it seems like there's always a variety of emotions that are flowing through the Rams fan base, and that might be the same case for other fan bases as well, but I'm part of this one, all right? So I don't know about those other fan bases. I can only speak for the Rams fan base and the comments that I see out in the wild, which is really, I mean, it's all over the place. It's fans that are thrilled that we're 5-2. It's fans that are angry that we're 0-2 against the NFC. It's fans that are just, feeling emotions. But you know what? What can you do about it? I mean, we all have our own perspective on this, all right? So this is my attempt, I guess, to kind of just level everybody out, all right? Just kind of just zoom out, take a peek at where we're at right now, and realize how good we've got it, dude. Because we've got it pretty dang good right now, better than most teams. So let's take a look at it. Where are we right now? The Rams sitting with a 5-2 record, 5-0 against AFC opponents, 0-2 versus the NFC, 0-1 against the NFC West. That is where you get the Rams still slipping into the third slot in the NFC West. But the Rams are done with their AFC opponents, like I said. So next one, not until the Super Bowl. It's going to be a bit. But like I said, Rams are sitting in third place of the NFC West, with the 49ers and Seahawks also sitting with 5-2 records. But again, Rams 0-2 NFC, 0-1 NFC West, having that loss to the 49ers. It's going to slip you down there just a little bit. But if the season ended today, which it doesn't, it ends in quite a while, so there's a lot of different things that can happen, shake out, and, people can get better, people are going to get worse. We'll see who's who, but right now, if the season were to end, the Rams would be sitting in the 7th seed if the season ended today, but in theory could get all the way up to the 3rd seed by the end of this weekend, which would mean the Bucs losing to the Saints feels unlikely. Let's be real here. The Eagles losing to the Giants, certainly possible. Eagles are definitely not the team that they have been over the last few years, and Giants, they've got some excitement going on, all right? Despite that game that happened in Denver last week, definitely some excitement involving the Giants. Niners losing to Houston, all but guaranteed. The Niners are terrible. Packers losing to Pittsburgh, very realistic, but who knows? That's going to be a crazy uniform game if you're into that stuff. All whites for the Packers. White helmet, white jersey, white pants. And then the Steelers going with their throwbacks, those awesome throwbacks that are all crazy that everybody hates. I love that kind of stuff, but whatever. So going to be a crazy game. And then also we have the Seahawks and the Lions are on a bye week, meaning the Rams cannot overtake them this week. They cannot get a loss, obviously. They're not playing. So if the Bucs lose, the Eagles lose, Niners lose, Packers lose at the end of this weekend, Rams jump up to seed number 3. All right, so it is quite the climb if for the Rams just kicking back, eating Doritos and stuff, which is pretty sweet stuff. The Rams only will only play NFC opponents for the remainder of the season, and teams that are currently ahead of them as far as the playoff picture goes. We have 49ers, Seahawks, Buccaneers, and Lions as far as opponents the Rams play that are currently ahead of them in the NFC playoff picture. There's obviously a number of teams as well that are not in the playoff picture ahead of the Rams, which would include your Saints, your Panthers, your Falcons, your Cardinals, stuff like that. So obviously any game in the NFL is a game in the NFL, so it's going to be met with some intensity from no matter who your opponent is, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now, though, is like we got NFC opponents the rest of the way, so none of these like AFC games, we don't know this team anymore, we've only played this team, single digit times. We're in there for the rest of the season against teams we've played a bunch of times in a row. So we're going to be more familiar with these teams. And also, I want to kind of just let everybody remember last year, just a little bit, just a skosh of last year, right? Because obviously, in my mind, very successful season, especially considering how it started. The way that the Rams were able to kind of pull in November, December, and then win a big playoff game, a home playoff game in Arizona. I mean, I think that's a successful season in my opinion, but I know that a lot of fans feel the Super Bowl or bust kind of world, and that's totally reasonable. I would never tell you how to be a fan. You're absolutely allowed to think that if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's a failure of a year. That's a rough way to exist, I would say, because then that means that there's only been a couple of successful Rams seasons in your life, and that's sad in some ways, dude. Like I don't know. Like obviously, I'm not here to tell anybody how to fan. It's not possible. You can't. There's not a wrong way. But I guess for myself, I choose happiness a little bit in that world where it's like I can find some really good things in some really lame years. 2010, dude. 2010 Rams missed the playoffs, but it was like, yo, we got Bradford. We were 7-9. We're gonna be okay. Damn you to hell, Charlie Whitehurst, still to this day. But you know what I mean? That's where my brain's at with it, is like we can have success that isn't always just a Super Bowl ring. Obviously, that is goal number one. That's what you enter every season for. That's why you play this game. But there's other ways, if that doesn't get reached, there's other ways to like retroactively be like, well, that was pretty cool. Like Eric Dickerson never won a Super Bowl, but we can still go back and be like, yeah, that season though, 2105, it's crazy. We can still do that. It can't just be, we don't look at that 2105. It's like, yeah, but there's no ring on it. So get it on out of here. You know what I mean? No one feels that way. I hope not, at least. But again, you be a fan how you want to be a fan. But that's kind of where we're at right now. So, and who knows? I mean, obviously, the goal is still Super Bowl this year. We're 5-2 right now. Obviously, that's where our brains are still going. And as long as we can remain moderately healthy like we have been. Obviously, you're losing your veteran right tackle on your offensive line for a few weeks, and then Puka Nacua, future Hall of Famer Puka Nacua. I got to go back and find quotes from like the first game that we had him a couple years ago against the Colts, where I came out on the next episode, and that's what I was calling him. We gotta figure that out, dude. I gotta find those. So maybe that'll make an appearance this season. On some kind of, maybe on a look back episode or something like that. Maybe we'll do like a cool montage, like sitcoms do every once in a while. It'd be pretty fun. Let's take a look quickly here at just like where the Rams are ranking as far as the offense goes. And I also have been asked recently why I don't do totals, I just do averages. And the reason is because right now the Rams have played 7 games, but there are teams out there who have not. They've played 6 games. So that's why I do averages. I think it's a better, more accurate way to look at things, because the Rams, once you start getting into bye weeks and stuff like that, and obviously we're going to have ours this week, so it'll start to even out eventually. But there's 6 teams on a bye this week, and some that are not yet seeing their bye. They'll see it later. So those numbers definitely are skewed. So that's why I personally tend to go with the averages. I just feel like that's more accurate. And I felt like that was the standard. I'll be completely honest here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like that made way more sense. So just my little explanation there for you. But if we take a look at the Rams offense, as far as our rankings go, so Rams are averaging 470 a game on offense. Crazy numbers right there. That is 8th in the NFL. That's actually just total yards, though. Let me pull up a different page here really quickly. Actually, no, that's right. That is, I'm surprised, I suppose, by that number. It's a high number. Passing the football, Rams are fourth in the NFL, 256.7 a game. That is all Matthew Stafford. Nobody else throwing any balls. No Cooper Kupp throwing interceptions on our squad. Running the ball, Rams are tied for 21st, 103.4 yards per game. Definitely on the lower end there, but also attempts are lower end as far as the Rams offense goes. Points per game, Rams put up 25. That's tied for 11th, just sitting out of the top 25, or top 10, excuse me. And on third down, the Rams are converting 37.7. That is 19th in the NFL. Right now, the Rams also do have the most passing touchdowns in the NFL, all coming from, again, Matthew Stafford with 17. The Rams are tied for second fewest interceptions thrown with just 2. The only team that has fewer interceptions thrown is the Philadelphia Eagles, who are developing into a bit of a passing offense to no help for their offense, in fairness, but limiting turnovers, obviously, for Jalen Hurts. Good news for them, but the Rams just one more than the team that has the fewest and has the most passing touchdowns. So your numbers there looking really solid for one Matthew Stafford. 2025 MVP is what we all got our fingers crossed for. Rams are 7th in pass yards per attempt, so very high numbers there as well. And the Rams do lead the NFL with most 20-plus yard pass plays. That is by a little bit of a margin. So obviously, Rams offense doing a good job, doing some efficient work out there on the grass. But I think overall, the Rams rush attack, it's not that the Rams aren't doing a decent job on the ground. They're doing fine. They certainly could be more explosive on the ground. There's not a lot of big time carries for the Rams. No real true explosive plays on the ground except for Puka Nacua, who's not a running back, obviously. So obviously, that's kind of where you want to see a little bit more progress happen. But I think it's worth noting that we've only seen so far September, October. Once the Rams are off the bye week, we'll be into November football, which does tend to shift how things are handled at least a little bit, and into December as well. So it's very possible that the Rams are intentionally going a little bit more pass heavy in the nicer weather months than when they get to the cold months, November, December, January, February, obviously. So that's kind of where we're thinking right. That's where I'm thinking right now. I say we too many times, considering I do this show alone. But I think that's kind of where my brain's going right now. Is I think that these numbers will even out. But again, I'm telling you that they're averaging 103.4 yards per game, which is tied for 21st in the NFL. But the attempts are also way down, and they are way lower than some teams that they have more yards than, or averaging more than. So there's obviously so many different factors that go into it. As we look at specific players here, Matthew Stafford does lead the NFL in touchdown passes with 17. He is on pace for 41. Third in the NFL with 1,866 passing yards. He is on pace for a little over 4,500, 4,532. And he is 5th in yards per game right now. So 3rd in total passing yards, 5th in yards per game. That's, again, where those averages, I think, come into play big time. You get it. Averages. Kyren Williams, running back, he is tied for 9th in the NFL with 472 rushing yards. That is 67.4 per game. He is on pace for 1,146. So I know that Kyren Williams, a lot of people are feeling like he's not having the year that we kind of want from him. And sure, maybe we would want more touchdowns. He's only got 2 rushing touchdowns on the year, on pace for roughly 5, considering that average doesn't really come out cleanly. But on pace for an 1,100-yard rushing season, 5 touchdowns. I mean, if the Rams are winning games and getting production and points in other forums, I don't think that's a bad thing. If the Rams are able to score in the red zone like they were against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London on the Wembley field, then I think that's fine. It's totally okay. But if you continue to have, like we have seen earlier in the year, weeks 1 through 6, I'm thinking of having more trouble in the red zone, then that's where you definitely want to see that number get a little higher. If we can break one out from the 25-yard line and he can get it all the way in there, instead of working our way in and all of a sudden we're at, 2nd and 4 from the 5 and trying to punch it in. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different situation. So obviously we're doing fine. We're 5-2 with Kyren only having 2 rushing touchdowns on the year. He has added some through the air, but I think that overall, as long as we're still doing a good job in the red zone, then that number is fine with me. If we're starting to struggle in the red zone, or going back to struggling in the red zone, I should say, then obviously we would want to see some more production out of Kyren on the ground, because it also feels like once the Rams get to like within the 5-yard line trying to attack, teams are just muddying up the run lanes, and it's very difficult to get in. We did see one where he was able to get in through that pathway there. I'll put this on D&D real quick. But that he got it in on the ground. That was what, against San Fran, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously Kyren Williams, I think, is doing a very good job. He's got that one very untimely fumble right at the end zone against San Fran. But I think overall, Kyren Williams is having a solid year, and just it's the touchdown production that we're not really seeing, and obviously yards too and stuff like that. But he's so involved in the pass game, and also his blocking for Matthew Stafford, who is, taking hits and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. It's not I would say, I'm not sitting here saying like if we can't start protecting Stafford, then we're doomed or anything like that. But he also is a great pass protector as well. So I think that always has to be included when you talk about Kyren Williams. It's not just a fantasy stat line kind of thing. I mean, he's helping Puka Nacua get fantasy stats if you're a fantasy football fan. I am not, but I understand the draw of it and all that stuff. I just don't care who's scoring as long as they're playing for the Rams. You know what I mean? Like Colby Parkinson almost got a touchdown against the Jags. I was fired up, dude. I wasn't for 1 second like, but I got Ferguson. You know what I mean? I just don't care. I just want the Rams to win. My biggest thing. Moving on to wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Third in the NFL with 616 yards. That is 88 per game. If he played in London, it's actually 103 yards per game. And even that includes the San Fran game or the Baltimore game, where he did not get a lot of reps in that game, obviously getting hurt in the first half there. He is on pace for 1,496 receiving yards. Far cry from when he was on pace for 2K. You know what I mean? So yeah, our expectations were tempered, and that is proven to be reasonable. He also has 2 receiving touchdowns, so on pace for that roughly 5 like Kyren has. But the thing with Puka Nacua is it's not a touchdown kind of situation. He's got 11 in his career. He's never been touchdown machine Puka Nacua. He's just future Hall of Famer Puka Nacua, who stacks up yards and breaks all of the tackles. He'll get you into the 20, but then it's going to be Devontae cleaning up. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we expected, and it's certainly playing out to be true, even though the time that Adams has really shown up in the red zone, Puka Nacua didn't even play. So there's also that. Puka is second in the NFL with 54 receptions on the year. He is on pace for 131, NFL record 149, so off pace of that as well. Those are your top guys on the offensive side, obviously. We'll get into further numbers as far as like record watches and stuff like that when we get into probably past week 11, 12, when the numbers really start shaking out. I don't want to jump on too early, you know what I mean? Because then I start jinxing people, and I don't want to be part of that. Okay. But we'll start diving into that, obviously, as the weeks go on. We're still pretty early in the season. Let's head over to the defensive side, though. Take a look at where our defense sits here. A few numbers might surprise you. Total yards, the Rams are giving up 337.6, 16th in the NFL, dead center. Passing yards given up, Rams give up a little over 208, 13th in the NFL. Running the football, Rams dead center here as well, as they give up 105.9 yards per game, and points being given up 16.7 a game. That is second in the NFL. And third down, 34% given up. That's fifth in the league. Second in points given up, that is second, 16.7 per game. Like I said, the only team ahead of the Rams has already had their bye week in the Houston Texans, but they are also averaging just 14.7 per game given up. Rams definitely not helping those numbers big time with our week 1 win over the Houston Texans. But I said it before, is like that when we left week 1, and you have no basis, no point of reference or anything like that of talking about like this game on offense might look better as the season goes on, and we see who this Houston Texans defense is. And I think that's exactly where we are as the Rams hit our bye week, is that we can look at the Houston Texans and be like, oh yeah, no, we did fine. Like we did a pretty good job actually in that game. Just like the game against the Colts. I feel like the Colts played so well against the Rams, but obviously the score the stat that matters the most is the score, and the Rams won there. But that being the Colts' only loss on the season. They beat some really good teams. So it's, sometimes the early season games can tell you more about you as you go on. It's like that win against the Titans. Not super impressive anymore. It doesn't really matter. Losing to the Eagles feels even worse as we go on. It feels like the Eagles are not that super team that we expected them to be. They are certainly beatable. So that one feels worse. The Niners, that one, yeah, I feel like that you can always give that a toss-up. It's Shanahan versus McVay and a division game. Throw all your, stats and trends and all that stuff out the window. Don't matter. All right. But with the way that the Rams defense is playing right now, especially, I just really like where we're at right now, and it does feel like the Rams defense is going to continue to get better. Giving up yards, not giving up points, and when we get to third down, we're getting off the field. That feels like, in a nutshell, exactly how you can describe Chris Shula's defense, and we're seeing the evidence of exactly the play style that we see on the football field translating to the numbers that we're seeing on your spreadsheets and all that stuff. So Rams are middle of the road in passing yards and rush yards, like I said, but they are 9th in average yards per rush attempt and 4th in yards per pass attempt. So yeah, they're giving up those yards, but they're also it seems like they're on defense a lot more. So those averages, like the numbers total, yeah, it kind of feels like we're giving up a whole bunch every game. But if you break it down into plays, Rams aren't getting smoked, really. You know what I mean? Just kind of playing some ball control, even from the defensive side. Rams are tied for second best in passing touchdowns given up. That's an incredible stat there. Rams have only given up 2 rushing touchdowns. That's tied for first. So doing an incredible job as far as when it gets down to, crunch time. When you're trying to keep points off the board, like, sure, let Derrick Henry run for 100-something yards on you, but don't let him score. And that's exactly what the Rams did. Like, if you could give me the option of Derrick Henry, going off for 5 rushing touchdowns or 150 rushing yards and no touchdowns, I mean, the choice is easy. Same thing with Matthew Stafford last week. Barely puts up 180 a game, but 5 touchdowns. I'll take that all day, every day, instead of the 394 in a loss. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of different things to look at when it comes to that. Points, though, that is such a big stat. Rams are second best in passing touchdowns given up and tied for first in rushing touchdowns given up. That's massive. That is absolutely massive. Rams also tied for 5th in takeaways with 10, tied with Houston as well as Pittsburgh. Some defensive players that we are kind of wanting to highlight here. We're going to start with Nate Landman. Nathaniel? Is it Nathan or Nathaniel? I think it's Nathan. Nathan Landman. I don't know, actually. We're just going to go with Nate. How about that? How's that sound? Landman. And I'm also not one of the Landman people. I'm not on that train. It's Landman. I don't know. I don't think the Landman thing is as funny as other people do. I'm not here to take shots. I'm just saying, from my perspective, Landman, it's like, all right, whatever. Anyway, 5th in the NFL in tackles with 67. He is currently on pace for 163. That's a bunch of dudes you're bringing down. Only credited with 1 forced fumble on the season, though. As I was looking through the stats, that didn't seem right to me. It still doesn't. I'm very convinced he had that one punch out where he like Superman flew into it. So that was pretty cool, but only getting credited with 1, which I'm imagining is the week 1 punch out against the Houston Texans. Because how can you take that one away from him? But I guess that other one, man. There were some other people in on the tackle. I know Verse was there. Somebody was wrapping up from behind. It might have been Curl. So maybe that's why they didn't give him that credit. But on pace for 163 is bananas. That's awesome. Cam Curl, 5th in the NFL in solo tackles right now with 38. He is on pace for 92. Cam Curl, tackle machine. He is all over the place. I love the way that dude flies around the football field, man. The way that he plays in the secondary, I'm really liking our secondary. I know that a lot of people are like, we need a corner, but I love our safeties, and I like our corners a lot. I think that they continue to get better every single week, and D Will kind of on fire these last few weeks. So I don't know, man. I guess I'm not on that train. Jared Verse, he is tied for 3rd in the NFL in forced fumbles with 3, and that's what I'm guessing that one of those is coming from that Landman play, but I don't know. He's also tied for 2nd in the NFL with in QB hits, tied with one Byron Young, also Nick Bonito, who is getting a lot of attention as far as conversations goes. But Jared Verse obviously on fire. The statistics not necessarily jumping out yet as far as sacks or anything, but I think everybody knows that so much attention's going to Verse right now that obviously, I mean, he's still impacting the game in a big way because he's impacting game plans, not just getting sacks. Whole different situation that he's dealing with now. Byron Young is tied for first in the NFL with sacks with 9. He is tied with Brian Burns of the Giants. And then Nick Benito has 8 on the year. He wasn't first for a long time. Tied for fourth in the NFL with 9 tackles for a loss. That's absolutely crazy. And he's also, again, tied for second in the NFL with QB hits with 17. Tied with Nick Benito. The only one that has more is Zach Allen of the Denver Broncos. And then below that's a gap, actually. It's a bunch of dudes, I think 4 or 5, tied with 13. So you have 18 for Zach Allen, and then Jared Verse, Byron Young, and Nick Benito all with 17, and then a gap. So it's Denver and the Broncos, or Broncos and the Rams that are absolutely just hitting all your quarterbacks, destroying their souls. And it's working out. Let's take a peek at the odds here, and then we'll get into our fan quesos, man. So currently the Rams are sitting with the best odds to win the NFC West. So number 1 there, even though we're third place in the division at plus 130. San Fran at plus 170. Seattle plus 270. So we're definitely looking better in the eyes of Vegas in that world. The Rams have the 4th best odds to win the NFC at plus 550. Eagles at 490. Packers at 410. Lions at 360. All ahead of the Rams, of course. Rams have the 3rd best odds to gain the 1st seed in the NFC, and that's actually ahead of Philly. So Vegas thinks that Philly has a better chance to win the NFC, but the Rams have a better chance to get the number 1 seed. I'm sure that has something to do with divisions, but also our division's crazy. So what? Also, the Eagles beat us? I don't know, man. I don't know how these things happen, but I trust the almighty Vegas, man. Who am I? Rams have the 7th best odds in the entire NFL to make it to their respective conference championship round. That is below Kansas City, Buffalo, Detroit, Green Bay, Indy, and Philly. So obviously you've got a few AFC teams in that as well. So not necessarily a direct impact, but you get it. Quarterback Matthew Stafford currently has the 5th best odds in the NFL to win MVP plus 1,200. That is behind Baker Mayfield, Drake May, which surprising to me. Let's be real here. And Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. We'll see what happens there. I think that Matthew Stafford is probably on pace to have what might be his most decorated year of his career. So we'll see what he decides to do after this one. Wide receiver Puka Nacua currently has the 5th best odds in the NFL to win Offensive Player of the Year. That is behind Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Jonathan Taylor. Those all opponents the Rams will play, by the way. All of those guys. Outside linebacker Jared Verse, edge rusher. He is currently the 6th best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year. That is behind Will Anderson Jr., Myles Garrett, Nick Benito, Aiden Hutchinson, and Micah Parsons. Parsons obviously coming off of a big game, but I would fight that one as well. Head coach Sean McVay, currently 6th best odds to win Coach of the Year. That is behind Mike McDonald, Dan Campbell, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Vrabel, and Shane Steichen. So have beaten Shane Steichen. Mike Vrabel's the only coach that we don't play on that world, so we can certainly help out, dude. We can certainly help out. That's kind of where we're at right now, though. Just a quick little, I guess, snapshot of where the Rams are at heading into the bye week, 5-2, and looking really good. You know, nothing super flashy so far. Obviously, we know a 28-point win against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, but nothing super flashy about it. I think the Rams kind of won that game in the first quarter. 3-and-out touchdown was kind of like, oh, this game's done. Good thing, too, because I was a sleepy boy, man, sleepy boy. But I don't know if I could have handled, that much intensity, slamming beers at 9 a.m. I don't know, man. Probably could have done it. I think it'd be all right. But that's where we're at right now, man. So obviously we will take another section of probably like December time, probably around that Lions game, to kind of just re-peek at all of this information and kind of see what's changed in that time. So obviously continue to hang out with me the rest of the season as we got Ram Showcase all year, and hopefully what will be many, many more game previews as we hopefully play all the way until February. But now my voice is giving up, so we're going to go, I don't know what's happening right now. This is kind of weird. But now we're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll dive into our fan quesos. That is on the other side of this break. It is Ram Showcase. Welcome back in Ram Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Bags. We're going to head over to the Facebook page here first, see if we got fan quesos in this world, and we'll head over to the YouTube channel If you would like to leave me a fan queso, that's always an option. You can always do that. You can send it to me anywhere on the Rams Showcase socials or my own. That's at Sheriff Joe Bags, at Rams Showcase. I do make a post on the community section of the YouTube channel of Ram Showcase, as well as the Ram Showcase Facebook page. So you can always leave them there. But if there's somewhere I'm missing, you would like me to post there as well, so you can get yours in, let me know. Just let me know. That'll work. So first few here coming from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. Says, what an impressive win against the Jags. Got 3 for you, man. That's what I like to hear. Says, number 1, what was more impressive? Stafford throwing for 5 touchdowns or Steve? Or Steve's celebration after he got the Jags offsides? First of all, it's for sure Steve. And also, I think that my favorite part of that was the block, dude. That, like, the way he, like, blasted that dude and sent him flying. No one's talking about that. And then he does a little jump, and then that was awesome, obviously. To see a guy that big be that nimble, I'm always going to love that dude. It's got Chris Farley energy. I love that with my whole heart. It's obviously awesome, man. But, yeah, I think that first part where the guy moves and he just, like, blasts him and then jumps up and does the thing. The whole thing was absolutely amazing. But, like, yeah, Chris Farley energy for sure with Steve on that play. And that's what I'm here for, man. Here for that. And it says, and why was it Steve's celebration? We're here, dude. We're here. I like it. Number 2, give me a player from offense and a player from defense who you would consider offensive and defensive player of the year candidate. I think it's pretty easy because, I mean, Stafford's going to be locking up the MVP, so obviously he won't be in that conversation, but Puka Nacua is doing some unbelievable stuff right now. So, I mean, no one can stop him. You put all of your attention onto stopping him, and you can't. But also, you can't do that because also we have Devontae Adams, and you can lose Puka Nacua entirely, and Devontae will still just eat you up. So, I don't know, man. There's no winning for a defense for sure when it comes to this receiving group. Because even, I mean, let's not dice it up here, dude. I mean, Witt, incredible. Tutu, super dope. Mump looks awesome. X is incredible. Like, I don't know, man. So I think it's bad news for corners and their ankles. But I would say Puka Nacua is the easy pick there for offensive player of the year. Defensive, dude, I know that everybody wants to go with, Byron because he's absolutely killing it this year. So, and he is killing it this year. And we can make fun of the answer of Jared Verse saying that it's because of Pilates all we want to. I'm not. Because he was dead serious. When they asked him, he was like, I think I'm joking. I'm not. It is Pilates. That is why he's doing so well. No laughter, no jokes, no giggles, anything like that. It's not like when he was like, I'll tell you who's not good at bowling, Emmanuel. And then, by the way, no follow-up questions. Everyone's just going to accept that and then be like, so, Jared, what do you think? Like, dude, ask about that thing. That was going to be content, dude. Anyway, whatever. I hate to have my mindset always on the content, but that was going to be a funny answer. And they just let it go. You could tell he wanted to give more too. He was like waiting for somebody to give a follow-up. Whatever. We're not here to talk about that. Yeah, obviously, I think I go Nate Landman. To answer your question, man, I go Nate Landman. I think that the presence of Landman into this defense is so palpable, man. Like, you can feel the addition of Nate Landman so sternly. I mean, you can't avoid it. The Rams improved at middle linebacker in a way that I don't know if we've seen, improvements at a position group like that in quite a while. Like, obviously, you bring in like an Aaron Donald, and that's like, he's better than everybody in the universe. So obviously he's better than anybody we've ever had. But like Nate Landman, and I'm if you've been here on Ram Showcase, I was a big Christian Roseboom fan. I liked him. Omar Spate's obviously awesome, but Landman coming in is just a different level of linebacker. It reminds me a lot of when we had Bobby Wagner. I'll be honest, of Bobby Wagner coming in and just like the presence felt was just very, very strong. And Nate Landman is certainly that way. So best linebacker we've had since Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner was the best linebacker we had since Laurinaitis. So it's just, it's been a bit since we've felt this. And somebody who we feel like can stay around for a while too. He's only 28 years old, so should be able to lock him in. I'm guessing it's about a 3 or 4 year deal. Not anything bank breaking, if I had to guess. But I would say he probably gets a 3 or 4 year extension to hang around for a little bit longer. I hope so, at least. Maybe that's just me trying to put that into the universe. Next one here from Edwin. How are you spending your bye week? Dude, the worst ways possible, man. I actually think what I'm going to do, because one of my buddies who, like, I go to the bar to watch football with my Rams squad, Aaron, Misty, Alan, Seth, all these guys. But my other homies, Packers fan, Jackson, who's been on the show, and then my homie Jeff, who's a Vikings fan. I mean, they play Thursday, Packers play Sunday night, so I don't think anybody's gonna go, but I think I'm going to. Just go some food and some beers and stuff like that, kind of just hang out and catch the action. It's better than just laying around watching, Red Zone or whatever. Because Red Zone also, it's so the commercials are fine, but they're so abrupt. It always feels like I sat on the remote or something like that. Like you're hearing a gameplay and all of a sudden it's like Outback Steakhouse, or and you're like, oh, did I hit something? That's where I'm at. So, what's your question again? How am I spending my bye week? Oh yeah, that way. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna kind of relax. I think a little bit of because I obviously love this show. I love doing this and all this stuff. But there's a lot that goes into this, so it is kind of nice to have a bye week where it's like this is gonna be a stripped down show. I'm not even put graphics on and stuff like that. So it's kind of my break too, to kind of just breathe a little bit. Because then obviously from here we go friggin' what are we week 8, week 9 to Super Bowl week. It's gonna be crazy, dude. It's gonna be crazy. So I'm taking this week to kind of just keep myself in line, and then always you end here. I'll be watching my Dodgers win back-to-back World Series. It's a great time to love LA sports. Go Rams, go Joe. Love that for you, dude. I am rocking my Colorado Rockies shirt here, if you can see. Ripping Colorado out here. That's actually a direct response to the Dodgers being in the World Series. So I felt like, that's cool. I'm stoked for everybody. I'm a Rockies fan, so I'm not sitting here like, this is ridiculous. We should have been there. We shouldn't have. We should never be there. The time we were, we shouldn't have. Okay, but that's it's my way of, I guess, it's not necessarily solidarity because Dodgers are like a huge rival of the Rockies, but in some way, it's just a baseball. Baseball. That's it, dude. Just baseball. Baseball's fun, man. Baseball's fun. I'm also not allowed to buy bucket hats anymore. I bought a bucket hat. I went to Coors Field, watched the Rockies play. I think it was San Diego. I bought a bucket hat because I was getting my retinas blasted by the sun, dude. And then so I buy a bucket hat. Rockies lost 22-0. And then on another day, I have a Rockies store that's pretty close to my apartment, and I was like, yeah, this one's cool. I like this hat, but it's the purple one. I wanted the black one. So let me see if they've got one. So I went in there and bought a black bucket hat, and then that day the Rockies lost 21-0. So on days I've bought bucket hats, the Rockies have been outscored 43-0. So I am no longer allowed. I can wear them, I just can't buy them. So I have to just use what I've got. I have a purple one, I've got a black one. That's all. That has nothing to do with your queso, but I wanted to share. Let's over to the YouTube channel here. I feel like we're going so casual and just chilling. It's bye week, dude. Bye week, man. Let's see here. We got 7 quesos over here, unless anybody's doubled up. And let me just kind of peek through real quick. Okay, I'm going to start with this one, because what? First one here coming from Rams House. Whose house? Favorite Brady Papinga moment. Dude, I've been asked some hard questions here before. So, Brady Papinga moment. Don't remember what number Brady Papinga wore with us. I would guess 52. Trying to remember the year that Brady Papinga played for us, because I think it was just the one. And if I'm doing my thoughts right, that should have been 2011 that Brady Papinga played for the Rams. You can fact check me. I also, if I'm wrong, whatever. But I'm pretty sure that's right. But as far as a moment, dude, I don't even think Brady Papinga had that many tackles with us, dude. I want to say it was either like 32 or 54. I don't know why both those numbers are sticking out to me right now. It's gonna blow my mind if that's like solo and combined. I'm like, dude, I'm a freaking messiah. But as far as a moment of Brady Papinga, I don't even have one for you. I'm so sorry. That is like too deep of a cut for a 1-year player who only did okay. That's a little deep, man. That's a little deep. I don't have an answer for you, man. I'm pretty sure that stuff's right, though. Number 52 and in 2011. That's literally the best I got. And I may not even be right. So I don't have a moment for you for Brady Papinga. This one coming from Paul. Do you think Stetson Bennett could possibly become the Rams starter one day? I'll say no. And that's not to take a shot at Stetson Bennett by any means. That's the fact that I think that he's 28 years old. We got him real old. He played in college forever. Didn't get a degree. Hilarious, by the way. I love Stetson Bennett for that. For being in college for like 11 years and not getting a degree. I love that. That's such a Joe move. I feel like that's some stuff I'd be able to pull off. But he's like 28 years old. He also is here today and decent, and probably at 28 years old is what people call like your physical athletic peak. That's like on average you're at your physical peak at 28, and he's our third string quarterback. Like, we wanted to keep Jimmy around. You know what I mean? I think that tells you all you need to know about how the Rams feel about Stetson Bennett. It's in a setting where he's literally listed as the emergency quarterback. We're paying somebody to actually be the backup every Sunday while he is suited up in case of a tragedy. You know what I mean? Because if Stafford and Garoppolo go down, bad things are happening. And the fact that Stetson Bennett's playing quarterback is the least of our worries. But I would say that the fact that he's third string right now tells you a lot. Obviously, we're not itching to get him out on the football field. But also, he's 28 years old. I think that by the time Matthew Stafford leaves, maybe we get a year or two of Jimmy being the guy. I think he's a little older too, though. I don't know if we would necessarily do that or not. But I feel like the Rams would just go for somebody younger. They would go for maybe a veteran in the sense of like a 25, 26, 27 kind of guy. But I also think that by the time that this happens, Stetson Bennett's going to be 30. So why would you want to start a career with a guy at 30 years old? I think that you can almost look back at Brandon Weeden in this kind of situation where it's like, yeah, he's a fine quarterback. He plays fine, but he's entering the league at like 32. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, what if he is our franchise quarterback? We get him for 4 years? What is this? Robin Williams and Jack? I mean, we're going to get him for a cup of coffee and then he's gone? Like, then he's old, too old to play? Like, in fairness, quarterbacks can play into their 40s. We're seeing it right now. We saw it last Thursday night. 2 guys playing in their 40s and on fire. That was awesome. But I think that overall, I think Stetson Bennett just isn't. He's just not on the trajectory to be our starter. I think that if he does start in the NFL at all, it's going to be for a different team, unless there's just an injury situation with the Rams. So that's where I'm at. Someone here come from Payo Time. I'm just going down the list here. Says Stafford MVP task force assemble. Let's go. Yeah, I didn't say that right. Stafford MVP task force assemble, or something like that. I don't want to yell. I live in an apartment. Says I recently was talking about Stafford with a friend who is not a Rams fan. He said Stafford has played extremely well, but could never see him as an MVP because he doesn't take over the game the way Allen, Mahomes, or Jackson can. What? Yes, he does. Okay, moving on. Continuing. I disagreed with him and challenged that you're really only saying that he's not as mobile as those guys. Straight up. I brought up the ways we have seen Stafford in the fourth quarter this year. Anyway, could you just nerd out some more about how great Stafford has been this year? Thanks. Love the show. Love you, dude. Yeah, I think you're right. First of all, that's saying that Stafford doesn't like carry his team to a victory. That's not knowing Stafford at all. In fact, if you say that kind of thing to me, I change my entire conversation with you. And that's to say that you say to me that Matthew Stafford doesn't, take over a game the way Allen, Mahomes, Jackson can. In my mind, I immediately are like, okay, you know football, but not the in-depths of football. Like, you're a casual football fan who knows the big names. That's how I talk. And I'm not going to say that to you. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're not a ball knower. You don't know ball. You're an idiot. I'm not going to attack you. I'm just in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, got it. And then I'm going to use examples myself of just like, well, yeah, but I mean, you can see this game here where, without Stafford, I don't think that this happens. Or, Stafford making this adjustment in this situation. I don't know if another quarterback makes that call by seeing what defense is out there. I don't know if a quarterback sits in and takes that hit while he throws that ball to Puka downfield. I think another quarterback probably crumbles under that. And you can use examples like Kyler Murray and stuff like that of I don't think this guy would have done this kind of thing. So that to me is how I would have seen that of just oh, you don't. Okay. Change the way I'm having this conversation. But then also if somebody comes in and starts talking about DVOAs and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in. Let's get into this, dude. I'll pull up my chair or something. It's all right, we're talking football now, man. I get all crazy about it. So it's I feel like my coworkers could attest for that. Of somebody comes in and mentions something about football, and then I'll say something. We had this pizza delivery guy. I'll call him out by name if I could, but I don't remember him. But he tried to tell me that the Rams played in a different dome than the Edward Jones Dome in the city of St. Louis. And he was like, no, it was the other one. And I was like, oh, no, they only played at the Edward Jones Dome. It's they did play at the Cardinal Stadium, but that was for just a year. It's stuff was getting built. He was like, no, it wasn't the Edward Jones Dome. It was something else. And I was like, well, it was called the Dome of America. And he's like, no, it was a different building entirely. And I was like, in my brain, it was stop arguing. You're intense about the Rams and know everything. And, well, not everything. I'm not a genius or anything like that. But in my brain, it was oh, he doesn't know. Just say, oh, that's awesome, dude, and move on. And now he refuses to talk football with me. But I also know that that there's our mailman, this dude Ricky, so cool, man. He comes in and he'll talk football, and I know that I can say stuff to him. I can say things to him of oh man, Jalen Ramsey, he's a Steelers fan. Jalen did that, man. That was so cool to see. I know he gets it, So I think to answer your question in the most roundabout way possible, to nerd out about Matthew Stafford is I think that we see it because we watch it so closely. We see the no-look passes from Matthew Stafford, which has become almost expected, so no one talks about it anymore, which kind of is where you want to get to as a pro in certain worlds, So I would say, I'm not nerding out about how good Stafford's been this year. 17 touchdown passes leads the NFL and has the second to least interceptions thrown. And he's on fire right now, dude. He's absolutely on fire right now. And I know I go based off, I float off of vibes, dude, most of the time. Vibes and feelings and stuff like that. But when you the feeling of having Matthew Stafford out there as your quarterback, when that ball's snapped, you feel when that ball's coming out of his hands, he saw something good and something good's about to happen. Rewind, dude, until back to when we see Sean Hill taking snaps for the Rams, and where the ball was snapped, and you're who knows? No clue, dude. He rears back, and you're I don't even know if anybody's over there. No clue. But with Matthew Stafford, you're oh, Puka's over there wide open. And if he's not, he's about to make a craziest catch of all time. You know what I mean? So, and I do that myself. I run off of feelings a lot, run off of vibes a lot. And when I'm watching a game, because I also, and I don't know how to explain it in a way where I could have somebody else do it also, but there's just an energy about the game when you know it's going to go well. That's the playoff game against the Eagles last year. It felt like the Rams were going to do it, and score. So that's one of those where it's oh man, it totally burns you because it does feel like the Rams are just on their way to go win that game. You know what I mean? So, but Stafford being the guy that he is, yeah, he's absolutely one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's just not mobile. And I think that you're absolutely right in your assessment there of just yeah, those guys can just go pick up a 3rd and 6 just because there's, a flat zone that got left open. Stafford can't do that. You know what I mean? He'll try, but when he starts running, dude, it's it's somebody's slowly taking over his legs somehow, or I don't know. It's like he's turning into stone or something. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, I think Stafford is the reason the Rams are 5-2. One of the reasons the Rams are 5-2. And one of the reasons we're in the conversation for Super Bowl every year. I think that he alone is the reason that we are in Super Bowl conversations. Do you take away Puka, take away Devontae, take away Kyron, take away Jared, take away Lake, take away Byron? We can put together enough people that I think that we can still be in the conversation with Super Bowl just because we have Matthew Stafford. I know some people agree with that, but that's fine. Next one here from Payo Time. After seeing the Rams rookie class through 7 games, have your expectations changed on some of them for this season? I personally have been so encouraged by Josiah Stewart And seeing Ferg and Konate get touchdowns give me hope that they could be very productive for the Rams this year and beyond. I absolutely agree. So first of all, Josiah Stewart, probably the best rookie we've got. Honestly, like at least so far. And Ferg could certainly get into that conversation, probably take it over eventually. If, because the Rams are like, y'all need to chill on Ferg. He's going to be so good for us. Like, they just keep telling us, like, no, we're so fired up for Terrence Ferguson. We're just kind of acclimating him a little bit, So that's what kind of keeps me, in it for, with Terrence Ferguson. But Mump, obviously, I think he's doing a really good job. But Josiah Stewart, dude, Brosiah, absolutely killing it, dude. He is doing such a good job. And he, I think alone, his addition to this defense is allowing us to be more creative with Jared Verse, where we're putting him right over the center. And it's like, read that timing, dude, and just light someone up. You can't do that if you don't have a Josiah Stewart out there who's also able to hold it down on the edge. So, and Byron, obviously a big part of that as well, but Josiah Stewart coming in as a rookie, being the guy we use the most, tells you all you need to know about how he was showing up in camp and showing up in practice. But obviously we got some other rookies, man, who are seemingly solid. Mump looks really good. Berg obviously looks really good. So we'll see what happens. I know Hamilton's been getting out there a bit as well, so that was cool. We got to play, I think that was his brother. Was it brother or cousin? Something like that. But that was really cool. Did a jersey swap. So yeah, absolutely love to see that stuff, man. But yeah, I think that overall this rookie class, I don't think my expectations have changed. I just feel like we were always waiting for the bye week to start getting them involved now. This is kind of where it's like, oh, the Saints and on. That's what I mean, I feel like I've said that a billion times. Is like, wait for the bye week from the Saints and on. We better, like, that's when you lock it in. Everything that happens before that, no matter what the record is kind of like, okay, we're through that now. Now it's time to play some football. We're into November ball. Now it's time to play. And I think that's where we start to see more of our rookies, especially Ferg. Next one here. Let me end on that one. Let's go to back to Rams house. Whose house? Favorite Eugene Sims moment. Solid, dude. Solid one. I'll tell you my least favorite Eugene Sims moment first, which is the roughing the passer on quarterback Tony Romo when his pinky quite literally grazed the helmet of Tony Romo and got a roughing the passer on that. Still mad about it. Now, I'm pretty sure that might have been the same game that Romo had that ball go over his head on third down and he still picked up the first. And I'm so cocky, dude. I saw that ball fly over his head and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then he's getting a first down behind me as I'm like trashing people. Good times, dude. I remember that. There used to be so many Cowboys fans that went to the bar that I go to. And I remember just being, and they're like, look, ugh, rough, dude. Anyway, my favorite one was probably in Hard Knocks, though, man. He was just so funny in Hard Knocks. The whole mermaid thing when the mermaid showed up at training camp and stuff like that. It was 2016 Hard Knocks. That was super funny, dude. He was just a cool dude, man. Him and Robert Quinn, I just loved their dynamic, how they would joke with each other, stuff like that. It was just a fun vibe, fun energy and stuff like that. But yeah, that's cool. Payo Town Rampage messages you asking for help with a big stunt at SoFi. Already in. Stop selling. You've already made the sell. I'm in. I'm on my way. Says, what would you have him do between the following or something different? Says fire out of a cannon. Very dangerous. Terrifying. Swing from the roof. So dope. That sounds awesome. I want to do it too. And then jump on a trampoline. Like, what do you mean by that? Because that sounds so boring. Is this like the Man Show? The ending of the Man Show where he's just jumping up on the trampoline in slow motion or something at halftime? Swing from the roof, dude, obviously. I want to do it too, though. I want to be in there. Like, I want to swing from the SoFi roof too, dude. I want to swing from the SoFi. There's something there about that song. What's that song? I don't even know who sings it. I shouldn't reference things that I don't know nothing about. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Yeah, swinging from the roof is, I think, so easy. So easy. I'm trying to think of what the Broncos usually do. The Broncos do some really good stuff with mascots. Rampage came out one time in the preseason. Yeah. I like this question, but I feel like I'm giving a terrible answer. Swing from the roof, because that's so dope, dude. Like, you could probably, like, get to, like, where the banners are, like, near the banners, and then just scoop on down, dude. swoop on down. And maybe you can make a game out of it. Maybe you, like, do a bungee thing, and, like, he's got to grab something at midfield. Me. I was kidding. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. And last question here. Last case, so I might have to restart my camera. We'll see what happens. Coming from Rams House, whose house? Says, if Darius Williams was a candy, what candy would he be? This is a really good question here because we are right up on Halloween. And also, Darius Williams starts off, the year underrated, man. Maybe being a little bit ignored. Maybe a little too ignored. But then he comes in the last few weeks, absolutely killing it. Give me, what are they called? Warheads, dude. Or Sour Patch Kids. Let's go Sour Patch Kids. They start all sour on you, dude. He's not even starting. He's not even playing week 1 against the Houston Texans. They call it a matchup issue. And now he's one of our best corners? Sour Patch Kid. Sour Patch Kid, dude. Give me D-Will Sour Patch Kid all day. As far as which flavor, I don't know. I don't know the flavors of Sour Patch Kids. I don't eat as much candy these days. You know what I mean? I am becoming an old man. So, thank you very much for your quesos. Yeah. Appreciate y'all, man. Be sure to drop them for next week as we get back into game preview action. New Orleans Saints coming to town to Los Angeles. Is it Los Angeles, I believe? We'll get into all that business next week, dude. We gotta know that right now. So thanks for hanging out, man. We'll be back, like I said, to the full game preview action starting next week. And then, of course, check me out on the Tuna and the Sheriff show that is on streamed live on the First to Tuna podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Rams Showcase Facebook page. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live, 7 a.m. LA time, so be sure to check us out there. You can follow me on socials, at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, ramshowcase.com. But that is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.